Welcome to Leadership and Learning, the podcast where we help leaders design learning strategies that fuel growth. I'm Jeremy Robb, a fractional chief learning officer or CLO on demand, helping startups and scaling companies scale people, performance, and purpose. So for the last couple of weeks, I've talked about how the L&D team can help internal enablement train up not just their people, but their AI assistants. I've also talked about how your customer-facing L&D team can do the same thing for your customers and for your partners, and enabling them to be more efficient with their AI assistants while utilizing your platform or your services. Okay. Now I want to talk about, and this is going to go back to your customer or your personal your employee enablement. But this is going to go a little bit further. So in my previous 2 weeks ago, we talked about we talked about employee enablement, and that was just general enablement. Like they have this role. This is what AI assistants can do for them. Your employee base is going to be neurodiverse. Okay. I'm not saying that you need to accept neurodiversity. What I am saying is that your employee base is neurodiverse, whether you know it or not. Okay. It's estimated that about 20% of all employees are neurodivergent in some way. They may have high masking autism or high masking ADHD. They may be dyslexic. They may have dyscalculia. They may be aphasic. They may have problems, they may be dyspraxic and, just have problems physically bumping into things. This is a reality of the workforce. Okay. More often than not, you're going to see folks that struggle are going to be the folks that are probably either dyslexic, they have ADHD, or they're autistic. Okay, and I'm saying this with a little bit of bias. I mean, obviously, I have not made it a secret that I am neurodivergent. I am high masking autistic. I also have ADHD to a certain extent, which helps me mask my autism. It's quite interesting that in and of itself. But be that as it may, AI assistants have become an amazing enablement tool for your neurodivergent employees. What does that mean? So with neurodivergent employees, there are generally 4 areas where AI assistance and AI in general has been very helpful. First is with executive function and task management. Um, a lot of folks, particularly those who are autistic or have ADHD, find it very difficult to um, to manage tasks, to get started. They get overwhelmed. They'll be overwhelmed with just the sheer amount of work that has to be done. They don't know where to start. I know with myself and with a lot of other folks that have autism, one of the main problems that they have is that they start getting lost into the detail of what needs to happen, that they get quickly overwhelmed with just how much has to happen, and they just never really start. When you get started and you start working through things, then you know that things aren't nearly as involved as you expect them to be or as you feared they would be. And this has been my actual experience. I have often gone to ChatGPT or gone to my assistant now and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do. How do I start?" And it starts breaking down what I need to do in order to get started, and what tasks are going to be necessary, and where do I need to go, and then I can go in depth into each area, and I just keep that separate. When it's in ChatGPT, I can't trust the memory, so I keep it externally and like Notion or something like that. With my AI assistant, it keeps track of all that for me, and it can go back and review it, and manage that for me. So when depending on how you approach it, the executive function and task management, AI is absolutely invaluable for those who are neurodivergent. The second one is communication and social interaction. If you have autism, social interaction is really, really draining. You've got a lot of masking that you've got to do. Allowing the AI assistant to take a lot of the overhead from that, and then you just tell the AI assistant what needs to happen, and then do general communication out that way, and then you can do more of your one-on-one. It really takes a lot of the pressure off. There's also communication styles. So if you are dyslexic, you may prefer to communicate using auditory methods, leaving voice notes or whatnot. Um, it's one of the popular reasons for using Telegram in communicating with your AI agent is that you can leave voice notes, and your AI agent is able to do that voice to text translation, and then turn around and do text to voice, and then talk to you. So you're not reading anything, you're not writing anything, you're communicating through voice. Very, very popular. So that text to voice, voice to text is one of the main reasons why this can be very enabling for folks who struggle with that. The other is sensory environmental regulation. Um, Depending on how you plug things in, the AI assistant, knowing that you're working, can provide white noise while you have your headphones on, so it makes it easier to concentrate. Or whatever background noise you need, it can play that automatically while you're sitting and working. It's able to help you with your environmental regulation. If it can tell that you are getting overstimulated based on the erratics of your communication, then it can suggest, or it can have like a regular timed, you have been sitting and working for 45 minutes, maybe take a 15-minute or a 10-minute or a 5-minute up stretch, walk around, come back, so that you've moved and you've got some energy out. If you've been working for say an hour and a half or 2 hours, you need to take a break, get up, go for a walk for 15 minutes, and then it'll give you a notification and say, hey, now it's time to come back to the office and whatnot. It can even help you do a lot of your work just through text and prompting and Telegram. So you can be out and about on your phone in an environment that's quiet, that's more conducive. This is where, like, say, you're by the ocean, on the ocean, in the green areas, to plug into the green mind or the blue mind. Those areas, those environments where it lowers your cortisol levels from the amygdala, from the hustle and bustle. Oh, I'm really stressed. And take you into a really quiet, more subdued area. This is where regulating your environment becomes really, really valuable, and how your AI can enable this for you and for your neurodivergent employees. The last one, number four, is going to be learning and information processing. Um, we talked about how L&D can help your team develop training and develop AI training. The AI training is going to be absolutely valuable, but the AI can also have access to the training that was developed for the human, and then can provide that training in an augmented form for your neurodivergent employee. So let's say someone is again, they're dyslexic, then it can convert everything that's been written into an auditory form and help them process it easier. Uh, if they're ADHD, it can provide things in smaller chunks and make it a lot easier to process the information and then apply it immediately and then process, apply it. So it really helps them regulate their ADHD and keep them focused by giving them small chunks and then helping them apply it and then working through how things are done. Um, if they have dyscalculia, which means they have a really difficult they have a really difficult time doing math and numbers and whatnot. Um, a lot of that can be written in a story form, which those with dyscalculia have a lot easier time processing story problems, word problems. Those of us who hated those growing up, um, those with dyscalculia actually they work better with that. So those are just examples of what your AI agent can do for your neurodivergent employees. Now, the fact that these same tools are also incredibly valuable to every employee is neither here nor there. They come with the AI assistant. The AI assistant is helping your people do what they need to do and helping it in the best way that they can do it. So it's a very personalized environment. What we're doing here is we're acknowledging that those who have autism, those that have ADHD, those that are dyslexic or dyscalculic, I think that's a word, those that have dyscalculia or they're aphasic, have problems with um, changing words for other words, um, that type of communication and modification that the AI assistant can do is very empowering and helps them become more productive and more regulated. It doesn't, and to a certain extent, help them kind of mask their needs based off of how the AI assistant is assisting them in becoming more efficient. So they don't have to mask in their communication, they don't have to mask in how they work because the AI assistant would take care of a lot of that for them. They can then be themselves and do what they need to do, you know, and if they're autistic, they can sit and stim and they can rock, and that's okay because they're sitting and they're still working, and the AI assistant is doing all the work for them and supporting them in their needs. This is where organizations that help with enablement, like Abilities or Audicate, these are organizations and whatnot that can build some additional AI assistant learning specifically for the AI assistant that support people with particular neurodivergent traits. And they provide that based off of, basic testing that they already have. So the research is already there. It's just finding the research that supports this particular environment or this particular um, need. So that is how, as an AI assistant or as a learning and development team, but I would say specifically a learning and development team for an organization that supports your neurodivergent employees, how they can help provide tools for your neurodivergent employees to be more efficient and more effective in the workplace. And that's all done by helping their AI assistant use the tools, use the skills, you have the understanding that they can then provide support for their their human. And what's really cool about that is that you, as a hiring organization, you have already enabled based off of setting up AI assistants and helping people work 10x in their productivity. You've already got the infrastructure in place. You don't have to pay for additional infrastructure. You just have a consulting fee that you set up with one of these organizations, or you work with them, and they provide the knowledge that you wouldn't otherwise have. That is going to make a huge difference in the maintaining headcount, the skills and knowledge, and the value that your neurodivergent employees bring, which is often way higher than a neurotypical employee, like 2.6 times higher, because of their capabilities and the skills that their neurodivergence brings. That's all going to be fully supported through an infrastructure that you've already got in place for all of your other employees. Why wouldn't you do that? All right. So, if you have any questions or any uh, thoughts, or want to pick my brain on this particular topic, it's one that I've been really, really interested in. Feel free to reach out. Go to rodclan.com. Hit the schedule a call and schedule a free 30-minute strategy session, and let's talk about what we can do to help you in this area. Thanks for listening to Leadership and Learning. I'm Jeremy Robb. We'll see you next week for more insights on learning leadership for growth.